Welcome to this explainer. We're diving right into a fascinating exploration of how we interact with the living world around us. We'll be mapping out the entire journey from massive national economics all the way down to the specific, hands-on vocations that secure our global food future. So, what does it actually mean to work with life forms? Well, it involves everything from ancient hunting and gathering to modern animal husbandry and crop cultivation. And it's all designed not just to help us survive, but to create a surplus for a better life. So whether you have a green thumb or just curious about how your dinner actually got to your plate, you are definitely in the right place.
Okay, here is our roadmap for today. We're going to look at the mother of all production, ancient wisdom meeting modern impact, the science of growing, the agricultural value chain, and finally, choosing your agricultural vocation. Let's jump in. Starting right off with Section 1, the mother of all production, agriculture as the foundation of civilization. The text often calls the agricultural sector the mother of all production. And honestly, it makes total sense, right? It isn't just about the food on our plates. Though, yeah, food security and ensuring affordable, healthy food for everyone is absolutely paramount. It's actually the primary provider of raw materials for pretty much all human activities. Think about it for a second. The cotton in your shirt, the jute in your bags, leather, wood, rubber, the oil you cook with, even your morning tea or coffee. Literally all of these industries rely entirely on the foundation of agriculture. To really wrap your head around the sheer scale and real-world impact of this sector, check out this staggering number, 46.1%. According to the Economic Survey of India 2024-25, put out by the Ministry of Finance, the agriculture sector employs a massive 46.1% of the entire workforce. That is huge. On top of that, it contributes 16% to the national GDP. India is one of the oldest agricultural civilizations on the planet, and today it leads the world in producing vegetables, fruits, milk, eggs, and fish. So when we talk about agriculture, we are quite literally talking about the economic and social backbone of the nation. Moving on to Section 2, Ancient Wisdom, Modern Impact, Bridging the Past and Future of Farming. We are currently sitting at this really fascinating crossroads. On one hand, we have ancient texts like the Krishi Parshara, which offers these incredibly relevant, ecologically sound guidelines for soil preparation, crop selection, and seasonal planning. And you know, those traditional natural farming methods, they are absolutely crucial today for fighting massive issues like soil degradation. But we're also pairing that ancient ecological wisdom with some seriously mind-blowing modern tech. We're talking about precision farming sensors that can tell you the exact drop of water a plant needs, solar pumps for irrigation, mobile apps for weather forecasting, artificial intelligence, robotics, and even agricultural drones. It is the ultimate mashup of history and the future. Which brings us to Section 3, the science of growing. Let's look at the actual mechanics on the farm. Because, let's be real, a farmer doesn't just wake up, walk outside, and randomly throw seeds in the dirt. They use a highly structured schedule, a crop calendar, to make precise decisions based on local weather and soil conditions. You can see how the year is divided into the Rabi, Zaid, and Kharif growing seasons. During Rabi, farmers are busy sowing wheat, barley, and peas. Then, when Zaid rolls around, they switch gears to watermelons and cucumbers. And in Kharif, that is time to grow rice. These calendars are meticulously designed by researchers, agricultural organizations, and the farmers themselves to perfectly optimize the harvest. But the science goes way deeper, right down into the biology of the plants themselves. Take the concept of seed dormancy. It is basically nature's incredible pause button. It's an evolutionary trick where seeds stay alive, but absolutely refuse to germinate if the environment is hostile, ensuring they actually survive. But farmers, who are essentially operating as field scientists, can strategically break this dormancy when they're ready to plant. For instance, the text notes that a farmer might soak rice seeds in hot water for a few hours. Why? Just to bypass that natural dormancy and kickstart germination entirely on their own schedule. Pretty clever, right?
And of course, working with life forms isn't just about seeds and plants, it's about animals too. Meteorological data dictates animal husbandry just as strictly as it does crop farming. Take the specific, harsh climate of Ladakh, for example. It deeply affects their livestock. The hardy animals they rear up there, goats, double-humped camels, yaks, and horses, are all intimately tied to the weather. So monitoring local weather with instruments like a dry wet bulb thermometer or a wind vane, that's not just some casual chore for crops. It is quite literally a matter of life and death for managing those herds.
All right, let's look at Section 4, the agricultural value chain, tracing the journey from farm to plate.
This is where we uncover the hidden economics of your groceries. Let's break this down step by step. Say the initial farm production costs 100 rupees. Well, that is just the starting line. The second that crop leaves the ground, post-harvest handling immediately tacks on 15 to 20% to that initial investment. Next up, processing. Processing the food adds a massive 30 to 50% jump to the value. This totally explains the stark difference in price when you buy a raw product directly from a farmer at a local mandi versus buying a processed, perfectly packaged version at your modern supermarket.
By tracking this farm-to-plate journey map directly from the source text, you can trace exactly how value is added at every single node, from the actual farming, to post-harvest handling, to processing, all the way to marketing, distribution, and finally, consumption. And you know what's absolutely fascinating here? The hidden cost of innovation. If farmers are using hybrid seeds, you actually have to factor in the cost of the scientific research that went into creating those seeds in the first place. That alone can add a staggering 20 to 400% back to the seed cost. Every step adds value, sure, but it also adds cost. Understanding this whole shebang really empowers you as a consumer to make informed choices about where your money goes.
Finally, Section 5, choosing your agricultural vocation, taking action in the ecosystem.
Because this isn't just theory, guys. There are incredibly diverse real-world vocations you can explore right now. And no, you don't need 1,000 acres to get started. The chapter empowers you with 7 different paths. You could dive into rooftop gardening right in the middle of an urban center, or get into high-tech precision farming. There are guidelines for mushroom cultivation, aquaponics, pisciculture, which is just a fancy word for fish farming, backyard poultry, and harvesting non-timber forest produce. The text really encourages you to map out your resources, like your available space, time, and access to experts, to see which of these hands-on projects you could realistically tackle in a few months.
And let me just highlight a genuinely wild fact from that last category, non-timber forest produce. When we hear forest produce, we usually just think of fruits or nuts, right? Well, consider lac. Lac is a highly valuable commercial resin used in a ton of different industries. But it doesn't grow on a tree like a leaf. It is actually secreted as a protective coating by this tiny insect called Curria lacca that lives on the branches of host trees. So producing this valuable resource relies entirely on maintaining a healthy insect population, which in turn requires a very specific warm and humid climate to thrive. It's just a perfect example of how intricate and delicate working with life forms truly is.
As we wrap up this explainer, let's circle back to that idea of agriculture as the mother of all production. With natural resources depleting, agricultural land shrinking, and our climate changing unpredictably, well, this mother needs our help. The whole sector is going through a massive transformation, and it desperately needs new ideas, new energy, and new hands. So my question to you is, which of these vocations are you going to choose to explore? How will you step up to help secure the future of our food? Thanks for joining me today, and I really hope this sparks your curiosity to get out there and work with life forms yourself.